Hello, welcome to Spread Book Joy. Today I'm doing the 901 books tag. If you're new to the channel, I'm Jack, and if you're not new, welcome back to Spread Book Joy. Today I'm doing a lovely tag which was created by Sandy over at Miss Reads a Lot. If you have not subscribed to Sandy, you should go and do so. I've been watching Sandy since her very first video, and she has got a project where she's reading through the 1001 books to read before you die list, and she is really good because she's a mood reader as well, but she wants to read outside of her comfort zone. She wants to read ones she never would have possibly picked up or books that are highly regarded, and she is working her way through that list, and it is a huge list. It's actually bigger than 1001 books. She's been doing it for a number of years because there's a number of editions of the 1001 books to read before you die list, which add up to, well, it's more than 1001 books. She's been working her way through it for a number of years, but since she started her booktube channel, she has recently read 100 books off of that list, and she has made this tag to celebrate. But Sandy's so lovely. She's really warm, she's funny, she always makes me feel really uplifted when I watch her because she just takes so much joy in reading. She's just a lovely, lovely person. So yeah, if you're not following Sandy, and go over and follow her, because you'll also discover some very unusual books, and yeah, she's just a lot of fun. She also runs a book club, 1001 books book club, so yeah, you can join that too. I was tagged by my friend Alice over at Alice and Giant Bookshelf. Alice was tagged originally by Sandy because they started their channels just about the same time as each other, and I've also been watching and friends with Alice since the majority of the time she's on booktube. I feel like Alice's channel is called Alice and the Giant Bookshelf because she has a giant TBR she's trying to work her way through. So yeah, her and Sandy have quite a lot in common there, so go and check out both of those lovely channels. On with the prompts. The first prompt is just like the worst possible one for me because it is to name the last 9 books she read. 901 books, name the last 9 books she read from memory, no peeking. Here we go. I know it was I Capture the Castle, I know that much. The King's Justice was definitely one of them. I Capture the Castle, King's Justice, Dead Ever After, and After Dead. Those are from the Stucky Stackhouse series. The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green, Terry Pratchett, A Life with Footnotes, and The Vanishing of Evelyn Jones. Far from the Madding Crowd, I'm going to go with, and one more. Oh gosh, I've got the worst memory in the world. The last one. This is really painful. Far from the Madding Crowd, I Capture the Castle. I know, it was Monstrous Regiment, Terry Pratchett novel, Discworld novel. So I'm going to check if those were correct. I was one out, so I got all of the books correct that I'd read, not necessarily in the right order, but the last 9 books I read were I Capture the Castle, The Anthropocene Reviewed, The King's Justice by Stephen Donaldson, Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield, which I completely forgot about, that's the one I forgot, Vanishing of Evelyn Jones, Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy, After Dead, and Dead Ever After by Charlene Harris, and those were 9 books. So Terry Pratchett was my 10th book, which would have been the next one in the list. So I don't think that was bad. Full disclosure though, I filmed a wrap-up video yesterday, so they should be fairly fresh in my head, though that's no guarantee that I'm going to remember all of them. But yeah, that was still hard work. I can't imagine what it would have been like if I hadn't filmed that wrap-up yesterday. Prompt number 2, 901 that was prompt number 2, was 901 memories. How close were you? 901 favourites. Out of the 9, which is your favourite? Oh, that's a good one. Out of those 9, which was my favourite? I think, that's really, really tricky because I really liked a lot of them. I think my favourites, can I cheat? Do you know what? This is one thing about BookTube. This year, my reading has gone from, like, I do very little mediocre reading, like very little. Everything I've read, I've really, really enjoyed. I'm going to have to go with, for pure enjoyment, it's probably Dead Ever After, the Stucky Stackhouse book, because it was the last one in the series and it was a lovely read along that we did for this entire year, and I've loved the series so much and I'm going to miss the characters a lot, but it wasn't the best Stucky Stackhouse book, so maybe not that one. Far from the Madding Crowd, I really, really enjoyed. I think out of all of those though, I think I Capture the Castle really delighted me. Oh, this is too hard. I hate picking favourites. Okay, I'm gonna go with Monstrous Regiment by Terry Pratchett, because that was just a wonderful read. I really enjoyed it. If you are not familiar with the Discworld series, it's a big 41 book fantasy series. Most people are familiar with it, and it's set on a flat world shaped like a disc, and it's kind of like a fantasy world, but it's mainly a satire based on our own world. So Monstrous Regiment is about a conflict going on in countries outside of the main urban hub that we see a lot of the book set in, which is called Ankh-Morpork, and there's two far off countries who are always at war, or a little country that's always at war with everybody, and we follow some of the soldiers who are being recruited, and one of them is a girl called Polly who's running off to find her brother and pretending she's a boy. So it's a really excellent book, and yeah, I loved it. 901 pictures. Share the 9th non-bookish picture from your camera roll. So I have Apple or iCloud photos, so I should have on my iPad right here, I should have all my photos from my phone. So I'm just gonna have a look. Oh, it's this one. I don't know if you can see that, but that's a house near where my parents live. And ever since I was a kid, this family have done these huge like Christmas lights decorate the entire house. I think it's more commonplace now in the UK than it used to be. It was very much quite an American like kind of thing to decorate the outside of your house, because over here when we were children it wasn't. People would just constantly come to that, stop and take pictures, and they even run a Santa's grotto out in their back garden, which is really sweet, and they've been doing that since I was little. So that's the picture. Yay. $901. What was the last book you purchased? I know what they were. It was Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason. I think it's Mason. I'll put this thing up here. And it was the second book in the Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. I didn't like Shadow and Bone. I have Six of Crows on my TBR, and I suspect from what I've heard about it that I'm going to really enjoy it, and I'm going to enjoy it more than Shadow and Bone. I kind of DNF'd that trilogy halfway through the second book, but I've heard such good things about Six of Crows. I don't normally buy the next book in a series unless I've read the first book in the series and really like it. I'm not one of those people who go out and buy the entire series having not read even the first book, because you just get stung that way. Invariably I will really dislike it and not want to read anymore. But they were bargains in the works. They were like £3 each, so I couldn't really resist. Also, I didn't really want to read Sorrow and Bliss. I wasn't really into the idea of it. I'm finding some things a bit too close to the bone when it comes to emotional and mental health sometimes, so I was avoiding it. And then I read the first couple of pages because I saw it in there and it was like £3. I was like, well, I'm going to read the first few pages because so many people I know have loved it, and it did draw me in, so I thought, I'm just going to get it. 901 miles. What's the furthest you've ever travelled from home, and have you read a book from that location? The furthest I've ever travelled from home will be East Coast of America, Boston and New York, and in some small towns in New England and stuff. So have I ever read a book from there? Yes. New York, quite a few. A Tree Grows in Brooklyn springs to mind immediately. Boston I'm not sure about, but I'm pretty sure I've read some books set in Boston. I'm going to do some Googling just now. Well, I don't think I've read anything that's actually, I can see anything that I've actually read that's set in Boston, but I've got a few things from my TBR that are set in Boston, apparently, according to these lists. One of which is what I talk about when I talk about running. And it's Haruki Murakami's memoir of preparing for the New York City Marathon. I'm assuming he must live in Boston. Is that right? He says here, settings range from Tokyo, where he once shared the course with an Olympian, to the Charles River in Boston. Among young women who outpace him. Sounds quite nice. Oh yeah, Walden by Henry David Thoreau. I've always meant to read that. And this list here says The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, but I've read The Handmaid's Tale several times. I can't remember if they actually name the city that it's supposed to be in. I can't remember. But this is a really interesting website. It's called readingthecity.com, and you can check out books set in various famous cities around the world. I'm going to check this website out now that I've just found it. That's really interesting. If you're ever in London and you go to Daunt Books, which is on Marylebone High Street, and I would urge you to visit it, it's one of the most beautiful bookshops in London. I'm just going to put a picture of it up here. They were famous for their travel section. So they have an amazing travel writing section and travel book section, travel guides and all sorts of things. In the back part here, I'm just going to show you a picture of up here, because I'm sure I've got a picture of this somewhere on my phone because I've visited it so many times now. But what they've got is everything's arranged by country, and you don't just see the travel guides for that country or the travel writing from that country. There are books from authors from that country, so they have literature from each country there as well. So it's really delightful, because in most places you'll go to the sort of travel guide section and then you go to, but if you want literature you're going to have to sort of seek it out yourself and find it, whereas what they do is they put it all together. So if you're going to visit Morocco, you'll have all the travel guides and travel memoirs from Morocco, and then you'll have literature from Morocco, which is amazing. So yeah, I'd highly recommend going there. That's gone off on a tangent, hasn't it? 901 facts. Do you read non-fiction? Yes. What is one of your favourite non-fiction reads this year? I've got so many favourite non-fiction reads this year. One of them I just finished, The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green, which is a series of personal essays about the world and the human age, the Anthropocene age. Which is really, really excellent. I've just finished that. Absolutely love Terry Pratchett's biography, which I've just finished as well. But earlier this year, I loved Pandora's Jar by Natalie Haynes, which was her collection of essays on different women in Greek mythology, and it's all around the sort of perception of these women and how sort of patriarchal bias and misogyny have kind of skewed our view of a lot of them. The one on Medusa was particularly interesting. But what I would say is my percentage of non-fiction book reading this year has been woefully inadequate. I love reading non-fiction, and this year has been like my worst year for reading non-fiction. So next year, I usually have always at least one non-fiction book on the go, or I used to, until this year, and I don't know why that stopped. I think it's to do with all of the read-alongs and buddy reads I've been doing. So you don't normally buddy read non-fiction, though that'd be a nice thing to buddy read, actually, non-fiction, especially if it's about a topic where you can have a little bit of debate and talk. Anyway, but yes, not nearly enough non-fiction reading this year. And last prompt says 901 subscribers, and Sandy thanks all of her subscribers, and I'd like to thank all of my subscribers. And she's left a comment for her, a question for her subscribers, and she said, can you put in the comments what is one of your favourite books you've read this year? And yeah, leave a comment with your favourite. So yeah, I'm going to put that out there to my subscribers. Have you got a favourite book from this year? Now, I don't really, you can mention more than one, because I'm terrible at mentioning more than one favourite. I'm terrible at picking like a single favourite of anything. But yeah, if you've got any favourite reads this year that you think have been wonderful, please leave them in the comments below. Last one is 901 friends. Tag some friends. So I am going to tag some people. I'm going to tag Lisa from Lisa in Bookland. I'm going to tag Heather from Reading with a Vengeance. And I'm going to tag Deborah from Booking with Deborah. So those are my 3 people I'm tagging. I can't tag 9 people. I'm not sure if you've done these either as well. If any of you have done this, sorry, I've tagged you again. But if you haven't done this and you're interested in it, please do. Feel free. The prompts, I'm going to leave them in the description box below. Hopefully, I will see you again here soon. Bye. Alice's channel is called Alice in the Giant Bookshelf, so it's her book.